Call the meeting to order at 7:03 on my clock. This is the Community Preservation Committee meeting. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. It's Wednesday, October 2nd. I get to read the nice little blurb. Hey, Beth. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number of 840-0877-2826 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting during normal business hours. Okay, again, thank you, everybody. Was gorgeous today, even in and out of the sunshine and clouds. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. Can I get a motion? Is there any corrections or anything? Can I get a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Beth makes the motion, Colleen seconds. Got to go through roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Barry?
Aye.
Colleen?
Aye.
And Beth?
Yes.
Aye, and the chair says yes. Great. All right, and then approval of the minutes. And the minutes were from August 7th, 2024. I didn't see any type of corrections. Jess does a great job. All right, anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Barry's got that look on his face.
I don't remember. Was I at that meeting? I don't
Yeah, you
remember.
were.
Okay. I was? Okay.
Yeah, the only one was Beth and David. So, okay, so Colleen, you made the motion? And can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Barry seconds. All right, I'm gonna go through the roll call. Jess?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Barry?
Aye.
Colleen?
Aye.
And Beth, I've got you abstaining because you weren't at the meeting. I can't,
She can, I mean, I think
she can?
she can.
Yeah, I usually say yes. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and the chair says yes, so accepted. All right, as long as you guys don't mind, Dan's got to go to another meeting. Can I move him up in the in the agenda?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Dan,
All
all yours.
right, thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Janet.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. So I'm here today representing the Stormwater Utility Advisory Work Group. And first, I'd like to thank Beth for your help on the work group and to get us to where we are today. Many of you, I know some of you have probably seen this presentation a few times, probably Barry, but there is a fall town meeting warrant article that's going to be on the fall town meeting for the Stormwater Utility Fund. So I'll just go through the most recent happenings. I know I did meet with you way back in February to indicate that this was being undertaken. So share my screen. I'll try not to take up too much time. And thanks again, Janet, because I do got to run to the Parks Commission for another meeting. Not related to stormwater. Let's see, share. Oh, here we go. Okay, I think you can all see that.
Yes.
Working? Good. Yeah, sometimes I have trouble with the share recently. Okay, consideration of a stormwater utility, the Stormwater Utility Advisory Work Group, summary of findings and next steps. So just in looking back, the work group's objective, consider the adoption of an enterprise fund for stormwater, so stormwater utility we call it, as an option for funding stormwater, and presenting the efforts and findings and next steps. So I did mention back in February, there were informational presentations. This is part of the outreach of the work group to let these various boards and committees know. A list of the work group members are here, and also just of note, consultant Tyne support was from Tyne Bond, and they've worked on many of these for various communities, so that it's been a great help with their experience. Okay, so just before we get deep into it, I always like to promote the web page that's been developed by the work group. It has all of our work group meeting agendas, as meeting notes summarizing those meetings, materials, frequently asked questions. Very important if anyone has basic questions about the Stormwater Utility Enterprise Fund and what it would do. And several videos, and I know a lot of you probably attended the June 24th public forum. That video's up there, presentation slides. So basically it's a repository, pretty much any question can be answered there, but we also have a submit a question button right on the web page too, and anyone can contact the work group or me if they have questions. So the work group efforts to date. So in short, we'll go through 4 bullets, and one was the work group determined the stormwater utility needs and funding, drafted a rate structure, drafted regulations, and also with that a credit policy, and conducted public meetings and outreach. And I'm not really going to get too much into stormwater and why we're doing this, but just kind of a reminder, an enterprise fund, it provides equity. The payment, the fee for stormwater would be based on impacts to stormwater to the stormwater, which is impervious area. That's our measuring key. The more impervious area you have, the more it impacts stormwater quality. Enterprise fund's more transparent, provides a dedicated revenue source, and also assists with financing large projects and future sustainability. So that's really why we're here, but we won't get into that today, just more of what we found. So bullet 1, stormwater utility needs and funding. Ayer stormwater infrastructure total replacement value is approximately $90 million. So we have a significant asset in town. In one of my previous presentations, we listed out the number of manholes, catch basins, culverts, and it's pretty significant. So the goal, determine a funding mechanism to meet current and future stormwater needs. And I kind of touched on this in an equitable, stable, reasonable, and sustainable manner. And so whether that be the general fund or an enterprise fund that would fit. And so the work group did evaluate different levels of service for stormwater management. And you can see that on here from version 1 down to version 3. The work group was pretty considerate. Version 1 was, all right, let's go tackle the stormwater asset management plan that the town has put together. That this stormwater asset management plan is basically the guidebook of what work needs to be done within the town of Ayer. For culvert replacements, regular maintenance, pipe replacements, more investigations, etc. And if we tackled that head on, in the schedule that's listed out in that plan, we'd be looking at needing a budget of $1.9 million per year. And honestly, we don't have the staff that would be able to take care of that either. And it wouldn't be financially viable for the town. So we really started at that point and then went and looked at our budget, the stormwater budget, and said, okay, what is more practical to implement? What is more practical financially? Can we still have a proactive posture as we approach stormwater management instead of kind of our current scenario where we're minimally funding stormwater through the general fund and being in a reactive position where we're just replacing things under emergencies and when they break. So working through that, we got down to version 3, which puts us in a proactive level of service. So we'll be able to tackle stormwater projects year by year, but also still take care of those emergencies and those breaks, and start getting ourselves on top of the stormwater management. So that comes out to about $700,000 a year. So using that number, we start to build a rate system and scenario. kind of talking more about the version 3, and I did touch a little on reactive versus proactive. The current stormwater management fund programming through the general fund has been around $240,000 a year. And I did touch on that's kind of really just keeping us, up with all the breaks and the emergencies. We're not ahead of the game. We're not making replacements or doing more investigations, understanding where we got to go and work in our system. I'll be honest, we have upped that budget too in the last couple of years since we had the stormwater asset management plan. We're probably around 450,000 or so in our budget at this point. But the 700,000 is the recommended. It puts us in a proactive posture. And that's where we landed as the work group. So I'll go to the next slide. So then we started working on rate structure for that 700,000. The key terms, I did mention this earlier, impervious area. So impervious area, it's a hard surface which stormwater flows off. And if you look at the image on the right, just imagine an area that hasn't been developed, forested area, not touched. What's going to happen to the stormwater there? A lot of it's going to infiltrate. A lot of it's going to be shallow infiltration. It's going to be captured by the plants. It's not going to run right off and right into the waterways. It'll evaporate. And there is kind of a friction factor as well with the trees, the bushes, the plants to slow down the stormwater. And then if you go all the way to the other extreme, a city, it's totally made of hard surfaces, impervious areas. Stormwater hits it, it travels fast, carries pollutants with it, goes right into the storm drain and out to our waterways. So that's why impervious area is used as the measuring tool. And this is pretty much an industry standard, and anyone who has a stormwater utility typically is using impervious area as the measurement. It's kind of, when you have a water bill, you're measured on how much water you use, but a stormwater bill would be based on how much impervious area you have. So second key term, equivalent residential unit. That's the stormwater billing unit related to impervious area. And so this is a common practice as well, to develop an ERU. And the way that we did it, and it's been done by other communities as well, is to look at your single family residential properties. And you look at the median impervious area of your single family residential properties. And you make that equivalent to one equivalent residential unit. So in the town of Ayer, the median impervious area on a single family residential property is 3,200 square feet. So that equals one ERU. So that you'll see in the future for properties that are non-single family residential, that's what we use to calculate a fee. But I'll get into that in a slide or two. Let me come back to the slide in a second. This is a property viewer. I'll go back there. So rate structure, the work group's recommended rate structure is a proposed annual fee. So this is per year of $95 per equivalent residential unit. That's proportional. It gets us to that $700,000 yearly proposed stormwater utility funding. All single family residential properties, regardless of the impervious area on the property, it could be 5,000 square feet of impervious, it could be 1,000 square feet. They would be charged one ERU. So that's equivalent to $95 per year or $23.75 per quarter. Any property that's not a single family residential property, so your commercial, your industrial, multifamily, they get charged a fee that gets calculated based on the number of ERUs they have. So essentially you use the impervious area and you make that calculation, and I think we have an example in a couple slides. So I just mentioned this one, example of a single family residential. It's billed a flat fee of one ERU regardless of the impervious area. So the example shown here is 2 Pheasant Circle. Impervious area, it's actually just under 3,200 square feet, really close to the median. It's billed one ERU, but that number could have been 5,000 square feet. If it's single family residential, it's one ERU, $95 annual fee. An example of a non-single family residential property. that gets calculated. So the bill is based on the impervious area of that property. So an example shown here, 11 Willow Road. It has 68,542 square feet of impervious area. So that gets divided by 3,200 square feet. That's equivalent to 1 ERU to calculate the number of ERUs. So you get 22 equivalent residential units on that property. So an annual fee times $95 per year, your annual fee to just over $2,000. So this, you can kind of see the equity here that, you know, higher amounts of impervious area, you're going to pay more for stormwater. Now, obviously, later on, I'll get into there is a credit policy. So if you have stormwater treatment on your site, you can actually reduce that fee. I think right now they'll go back to the property viewer. So those examples I was showing you, you saw those maps. Those actually are from this property viewer. We have a link right on the work group's website. The online parcel viewer is there. You can go on this map, zoom in, click on any property in town. It'll show you the impervious area, the ERUs, what type of property it is, single family residential or non-single family residential. So that's available right now. And just wanted to point that out if anyone wants to look and spread the word. Okay. Bullet 3. So the work group also created draft regulations, and I mentioned this, the credit policy. So some of the key items in those, the select board would be the authority, and the select board would also set the rates, very similar to what we do right now for our water and sewer rates, where there's a public hearing. Typically water and sewers in March. I'm not sure, this would probably be similar if it were to be to go through town meeting and pass. Credit policy. So it's available to all properties, single family residential and non-single family residential, any property. It can be up to 50% off of a stormwater fee. There's a lot of criteria built into that policy. It has to meet, certain stormwater treatment levels for the impervious area on the property. So it can get up to 50%. And so, it reduces the fee for that property, but it also improves stormwater quality in the town. It's a benefit. And then finally, billing and collection abatements. We have done a preliminary look, DPW has, and the stormwater fee can fairly easily be added to the water and sewer bills. So that's what I would expect if this were to go forward. We would aim to do that. So they would get added to the quarterly water and sewer bills. But there would also be some legwork for properties that don't have a water and sewer bill at this time. Public meetings and outreach. So the work group has been meeting since September of last year, monthly, and also those were open to the public. The board and committee presentations, we're here tonight, and back in February we met with several boards and committees. We did miss CPC on that list there, I apologize. But also we've been to the select board several times, and some of these meetings were pre the work group. But further down, we're looking at public outreach presentations. In February of 2024, we had a guest speaker at the library, and she did a great speech on kind of the basics of stormwater. What is it? Treatment, and I also touched on climate change. There's a very good video that's on our website. The June 2024 public input and information forum, there's an image of that here. And also in August of 2024, there was a meeting with commercial property owners who had significant fees. And then other outreach, I'm not going to read through all this, but there's been a lot of other outreach done as well through various flyers and videos and etc. So we're almost to the end. Next steps. On September 17th of 2024, the select board was updated by the work group, and the select board has recommended and approved 2 articles for fall town meeting consideration. So the first article creates the Stormwater Enterprise Fund through the legal statutes, and the second article will allow the creation or implementation of fees and collections for the Stormwater Utility Fund. So 2 are required legally for this to go through. So those are on the town meeting warrant for the fall. We expect to see that, and I think that's all I have. So if you have any questions, I know, thank you for sitting in on this. I know a few of you have seen this a few times, Barry, one of them, but appreciate that. And feel free to have anyone reach out to the work group or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions as this leads up to town meeting.
All right. Dan, thank you very much. I know that at the planning board meeting, Jonathan made a very good point of it's better to be proactive than reactive, where now, it's nice to have this fund available just in case there is an emergency. You don't want anything, hopefully nothing like Leominster happens here, but it can happen the way things have been going. Anybody else have any type of questions, comments?
No, just to add on to that, being reactive is far more expensive for the same task than proactive, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you need a vote of support or anything from us there, Dan? Or?
No, it's the board's already approved the warrant. Otherwise, I would let you consider doing one if you would want to, but at this point, no. I think that the best thing to do would probably be just keep spreading the word, let people know the availability of the work group and the website. I know Heather and Concom, she's going to be at a table at Newton Street. She'll have a one-page flyer there as well. And the work group's going to meet again next week too we'll discuss if there's any more outreach to do, but
I just want to mention that I think you guys have done a great job with the outreach, and that I've seen the flyers, and the inserts and everything too. So it's just really helpful to get the word out. I do want to just, and I do apologize also for missing a couple of meetings recently too. But I think just being careful that, there will be needs probably for expensive culvert replacements and things like that, that the enterprise fund might not cover, and just so that folks will understand that that might be the case, because you'll be able to kind of save up for bigger projects, but there will probably be times I presume that you might be going back to general fund to ask for an asset upgrade or something, or what are you anticipating with that? Just because I think it'll be kind of an important.
So we have spread out the work quite a bit to make it feasible, and through the debting process to still be able to have a retained earnings in the fund. So at this time, we don't anticipate that.
Okay,
there are
but
certain items that are in the general fund that get used for stormwater, and this happens for our water and sewer as well. So for example, the highway division did a couple catch basin replacements last week, and they're using highway trucks which are paid from the general fund. So like equipment like that is still going to be paid through the general fund, the highway equipment that gets used, and certain salaries as well. So there is still kind of some general fund that applies to stormwater, but it's sort of natural in a way. It happens with these
Right.
funds. But yeah, at this time, we anticipate to be able to debt it and just spread the work out. Now, if we have an emergency, then we got a problem, but
But yeah, I think, because these things need to happen one way or another. So if we didn't have an enterprise fund, we'd be paying more through the general fund to make it happen. So this just is like a more equitable way to fund it, given, the contributions that properties are making with their impervious, runoff to the town system. And that sounds great. The other thing that I did just want to briefly mention is thinking about, in addition to the condition of the culverts and the asset, evaluation that's been performed, it would be great for us to pursue grants at some point in time to do the evaluation of the culverts from hydrological connectivity and wildlife passage. Just so that could be fed into the prioritization as well. And then when you have information about the importance of improving habitat, hydraulics, then you're eligible for more grants for those culvert replacements too. So, just to have that additional information and help with prioritization of which culverts to do would be nice. So.
Yeah, that would be great. There's one in town that's already on the website of DERs that we've tried to get money for, but we've been unsuccessful. But that's a good point. Beth, to be able to kind of do that analysis of more culverts and potentially be able to take advantage. Yeah.
Something tells me that the homework is never done.
No. Okay, but yeah, I
All right.
appreciate your time and thanks.
Okay, yeah, all right, have fun at your next meeting then, Dan.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Bye.
I'd say then.
All right. So we'll be able to give him support, I would imagine, over at town meeting, which is October 28th.
Yeah,
All
coming up.
right. So I'm going to jump back up for correspondence. We got our, I believe, I tried looking back at old minutes, and I don't believe I mentioned that we got our dues invoice from the coalition. And again, since we're at the 3% mark, the dues is $2,875. It's the annual dues. So as you know, one good thing about the coalition is they do help us out with any type of question. And I know that sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I should say I or whatever, bother them quite possibly sometimes several times during a month, with questions that come up of, can we get it, can we do this, can we do that? So they're very, very helpful. I'm going to try to keep information going so that if they do have any type of classes or whatever, we might be able to take a couple training classes. I know that Beth and I, went years ago to a couple really good sessions that they had, but then COVID happened, and I don't know really if they had anything, like that. So I'll keep my eyes open. But that's the only correspondence that I had. Anybody else get anything or any type of? Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, I'm just moving right along with regards to old businesses, the update on the success stories. I have not touched mine. Barry did a great job on the Sandy Pond School Association.
Well, Irv did a great job.
Okay.
I just asked him and he,
All right. So with that, I haven't had a chance to read it all, but I like the way it ends of saying that it's going to have the children's voices once again in the school. I thought that was a great way of ending it. So
yeah,
I'll go through it. Has anybody else had a chance to work on their homework?
I realize I have done as much as you have on yours, Janet.
Yes, I tell you,
I am quite relieved to hear that everybody else has done as much as I have done. Or a few others have done as much as I've done. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't done
I
anything
was-
either.
I actually was lying. Mine are all done. I'm kidding.
Hold on a second, turn a little bit,
Yeah.
Do you have a deadline when you would like them done, Janet?
I think before the end of the year, I'll be honest with you. And the reason behind it is just, I want to make sure that the public knows, what we have been successful in doing. I was at the Habitat for Humanity groundbreaking on Monday, and they laughed at me because where I was standing, I wasn't part of the presentation group, Carolyn and Jamie Eldridge and such. I was over on the side, but I was standing next to the foundation. So when I yelled out with regards to the CPC funds and telling Carolyn that, yes, we'd be interested in doing even more for Habitat, it echoed into the foundation. So everybody heard it, and some of the kids who were there even backed up because of my voice just bellowing through. So it was pretty good, but it's good to get the word out, that funds are being used for, things that are open space, recreation, historic, as well as community housing. So that's why I said, if we can get something done by the end of the year, I think that would be great. And then this gives Cindy a little, or whoever, IT, a little more time to put stuff up on the website. Okay, does that sound good for everybody?
Janet, I have the library one approved, so I can get that to you. And I
Excellent.
have a draft of my other one, which I sound like an overachiever, but I did it 2 hours ago. But Luke wrote back to me right away. So,
Excellent.
but
Oh,
I do,
you
I
get the
actually
gold
want to,
star.
I want to actually give the gold star to Jess, because I will tell you, if you're going to do these, if you just search your email for Jess's minutes, it will give you the blurbs of the writing of everything you need to say from anything. So Jess's minutes for the win.
All right, see, that's why we have a good team here. Use our resources that we have. All right, that's great. Yeah, get it to me, Julie. And like I say, I'll put it together so that I can send it on to Cindy so she can update the website.
I guess I better check those minutes too for my own.
Really, it was so helpful just to put in the little search term and it popped right up in the email, and I got all of Jess's great minutes that covered my topics.
Now, Jess, there's certainly no need for you to do it twice. You could just go back to your
30 minutes.
time minutes.
Hey, so what Julie just said, you just put in a search term, and where did you put in the search term?
In the Outlook email where you email us the minutes,
Okay.
our town
Oh, okay.
email.
You were just looking for the emails.
So in the
Oh.
email, I typed digitization, right? Because that was the keyword for the library one. And I
Okay.
got all the minutes you had written something about the library digitization came up. So I was able just to cherry pick when you
Ooh.
like summarized what they said they were doing.
Okay.
Um,
I did not
so if
know
you
that.
put your own keyword into that, you'll find your minutes.
Okay.
See, like I take all the minutes, dump them into a folder, and then
Yeah.
I just look in the folder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Oh, these young folk are technologically proficient, unlike some of us now.
I know. I got to go ahead and ask Julie and how to set up Venmo. Oh, she doesn't? Okay, then never mind. All right. Okay, so this is good. We're moving ahead. With regards to new business, I'll be honest with you, I really don't have anything. Does anybody else have anything with regards to new business?
Nope.
I'm looking at heads shaking, Beth's shaking. Okay, this is good.
Well, I know that the Affordable Housing Trust will be working on an ask, but it's not going to come till closer to winter
February.
time. Yeah, Springtown meeting.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the last joint meeting. We emphasized that it has to be, the application has to be in by February. So, all right. It's good to have you on there, Colleen, so. All right, if there's anything else, I'm looking around, it's just us. I don't see anybody from the public here. So I just want to reiterate, if somebody from the public is watching this video on YouTube, because that's where APAC now does put their the videos underneath the Air Public Access Corporation's YouTube channel. And you have a question, definitely email cpc@air.ma.us or give a call over to Carly and she will go ahead and let me know, or one of us know, of one of the questions that you might have. We are available and are willing to answer any type of question, even after doing a little bit of research where you might have to do research. So thank you very much for watching. All right, I'm moving on to the committee reports. Jess, conservation.
Well, we just are, we've had a little uptick in business, which is good, but so mainly right now, several national grid projects that we've been reviewing, and something over on Scully Road that Planning Board also has reviewed for a fire alarm and sprinkler monitoring system company. Yeah, otherwise we're pretty quiet. We'll have a table set up at the Newton Street.
Nice.
So
All right, that's great. Keep you busy. Historic?
Likewise, we're gonna have a booth at the Newton Street Folk Festival, so we're getting ready for that. Unfortunately, I thought our kiosk would be up and running by now, but we have everything ready to go for that, including the display to go inside the cabinet. But DCR is the one that's been holding us back. Chuck started correspondence with them back in May 5th. And this has just been dragging on and about trying to get a hold of them and not responding to us. And then finally, about the third week in August, they decided they wanted a Mass Historic PNF, which is a project notification form, through Mass Historic, which then they said they need that so that they can approve what we're going to do. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why we have to go through Mass Historic, because it's DCR property. We just want the permission to put the kiosks there. That's all.
Mhm.
So, and some good news, Jeff Tillotson had a bike ride with somebody and an official from DCR. So we hooked Chuck up with this gentleman here, and hopefully he's going to drop his name and that might speed things up. So,
Excellent.
but unfortunately, we thought we'd have this in this summer. So, but we will have the display of the what was going to be inside the kiosk. We'll have that with us on Saturday. So, even though it won't be in the kiosk.
All right, but that'd be good to see.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
If you
Thank you,
still
Vic.
don't see any movement, let me know if you need any other names.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah. This is I just I don't understand why this has been taking so long. Chuck has a whole list of emails going back and forth with DCR. So I don't. But anyway.
You know,
It's-
conservation has had on getting file numbers for notice of intent filings.
Yeah.
The state's been taking forever on those too, and I think a lot
Yeah.
of it is just staffing issues.
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing with housing. I think we finally, Housing Authority, we finally got, like, say, the budget even a little bit earlier this year, but it's still late, so, yeah. All right, Colleen, Housing Trust?
We did not meet in September, so our last meeting was the August meeting, which was a joint meeting with the Affordable Housing Committee. We had a presentation from the town planner about the inclusionary bylaw. We had the Devon's Crest Tenant Association came asking for a letter of support for, see if I can remember the details. They're working with someone to potentially purchase the property. So the trust agreed to write a letter in support of, this is an opportunity for affordable housing. And we talked about the fact that we would be starting to work on our application to CPC for our next round of funding and come, in January, February, so that it can go to Springtown meeting.
That's for the rental assistance program.
Yes, and also thinking about whether any additional funding for acquisition or, creation of new affordable units. So that's sort of what we're trying to figure out. But yes, certainly to support the next round of the rental assistance.
Mhm. Because again, the Housing Trust can grow as large as it wants to, that it can, with regards to, like, say, CPA funds, and it can be like the conservation fund, so like right now, the conservation fund has over $500,000 in it because of increase with interest. So same thing with this Housing Trust. They can go, and this way here, it'd be readily available should a property be available for some sort of housing purchase. So they can put it down for purchase and sale. So that'd be good, with February. Going on with Colleen, the Housing Committee also too was asked to write a letter of support And I've been in conversations with Connie Sullivan, who is representing the Devon's Crest Tenants Association. The committee itself, when we met, some of the individuals present did not want to have the letter be to whom it may concern. They want it to be more specific of what agencies it's going to be sent to. So with that, like I say, I've gone back and forth with Connie of asking what type of, what agencies do they want to use this letter of support of affordable housing, and they are looking at their own private, purchase, et cetera. So, we try to, again, make sure that the town isn't involved, because the town doesn't have the funding. The housing authority doesn't have the funding to do any type of purchase of Devon's Crest. So with that, we kept it, just of supporting their focus on looking ways to keep it affordable. And we also too, go ahead, Jess.
Just could you update, what's the status with Brady Sullivan? now?
Brady Sullivan right now is still a no
Still a no for,
for selling it
okay.
right now, as but
Okay.
again, their equity firm and other independent partners are trying to work out a deal. So they've got non-disclosure agreements going back and forth. So
Yeah.
and let's see, what was yeah, so that's one of the things with regards to the housing committee. Like I say, the housing authority, we just reviewed the budget, and there's going to be some capital improvements. They're going to be working on the parking lots and driveways, hopefully sometime next year with some of the capital improvements. But let's see, that's oh, and one of the things that with regards to the working group that looks at this inclusionary housing is that there will be a fee for if a developer does not want to create an affordable housing dwelling unit within their development, they can also do in lieu of creating that affordable unit. So there's a certain breakdown percentage that if the house is 400,000, I'm just giving that, I forget what the grid is, it's $10,000 that they would give to the trust. And this is outside of the CPA fund realm. So it can be used for other items that doesn't have the limitations that the CPA funds would.
But
And
it still goes into the
Uh,
same trust fund.
same trust.
Okay.
But it will be kept separately as, in the bookkeeping, so that they know that certain amount of money is CPA funds and the other amounts of money are in lieu of. I see Beth has a question.
But how does this compare to the bylaw for inclusionary housing?
This is what's coming up in
Here.
in town meeting. There are 4 new additions or, edits that are happening within the bylaw, the zoning bylaws.
So is it
Ryan?
still in
Inclusionary
draft
housing.
and under review? I hadn't heard
Mhm.
about this.
Yeah, we've had public hearing. I shouldn't say we did, but planning board, that should look at, for Julie, the planning board's had the public hearing.
Yeah,
with regard-
I tried to attend the one that I knew they were talking about MBTA, but I didn't know if
It's the same one.
I didn't get like a good connection, so I couldn't participate.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't like in lieu fee because it's so hard to create affordable housing. I would rather force them to create affordable housing rather than allow them to pay a fee, right? So it really would need to be demonstrable, exceptional circumstances, I think, to allow an in lieu fee. Please don't make it easy to do in lieu fee. It's really not going to achieve what we want to achieve. So that's just
Well, it's already on like I say, it's on the warrant. So that's going to be brought up at town meeting, October
What are
24th.
the circumstances they could pursue in lieu fee?
I don't have all the, I don't have the whole, I can send it to you. It's out on the planning board, website.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had all the documentation. Or say, the planning board, I'm stealing Julie's thunder. I'm sorry, go for it.
Well, Colleen looks like she wants to chime in, so yes, Colleen?
Yeah, all I was gonna say was, I don't, like Janet, I don't remember all of the details, but I think they are improving on with this new plan what we had before, because we've had this in lieu of fee structure, but it has never been triggered because of how it was set up. And now I think there are some more incentives, in terms of making smaller units, less costly units, and more triggers for the in lieu of fees, because we weren't getting the affordable housing from the bylaw as it was first written, and we also weren't getting the funds to make affordable housing. And so this revision, I think, is trying to at least correct that a little bit, was my understanding.
And I think I can echo that what you're saying, Beth, has definitely been said at these meetings, and it is sadly still a concern, right? It for those of us that are advocating for affordable housing, it's in a much better direction, and it's at least getting us funding that we weren't getting before. But I think I'm going to speak as a public resident right now, not as a member of the planning board, but I think what you're saying is real. But I will say the follow-up that I'm hearing from our town planner, and from our building commissioner is there's a part 2 of this, and I don't know, I'm sure you're noticing, but with the movement in town hall right now, Danny's working on a lot of stuff, right? So things are coming through very quickly. So it sounds like at the next town meeting, he's hoping to have more small A affordable units, trying to get more cottage style things built. So there's a follow-up plan to this plan. So it's not just this is one and done. This is building on a bigger vision to make sure there's affordable housing options throughout town.
And on top of that, when Julie mentioned, like say smaller affordable units, one of the things that we're looking at is this type of cottage style development. And there's 2 items. We're going to have a speaker, and this is what I was going to let you all know, that a gentleman by the name of Mark O'Hara from MCO in Harvard. It is MCO Housing Services. He has worked on several plans. One of them is now in Lancaster, of developments that are cottage style, in a cul-de-sac area where you've got it's almost like a little common in the center section, and then the houses are out towards the side, and then you can get to them towards the back. There's like a road that goes around them in the back. So they've got that one. I know that they've got one in Westford, and he's going to come and speak to, and I'm going to say it's not only a joint meeting, but it's a meeting with the working group, the Affordable Housing Committee, the Affordable Housing Committee invited him, and the Affordable Housing Committee, the Housing Trust, the Planning Board, and anybody else who wants to join. It is going to be an open meeting. It's going to be also to a hybrid meeting, so it will be available via Zoom. Again, October 7th at 6:15, because the Affordable Housing Trust just loves being a 6:15 meeting, and the Planning Board loves to be a 6:15 meeting. So that will give you some idea of where we want to take that next level of trying to find houses that are smaller, that first-time homeowners could go ahead and be able to purchase, as well as individuals who want to downsize and they'll be able to move into. And again, they are smaller type cottage style houses. So I can send you some of the information with regards to MCL. We want Mark to come in because of some of the success, the successes that he's had. And then I know Charlie and Danny, Charlie, the building commissioner, as well as Danny, the town planner, have a whole batch of questions to ask them. And we'll be looking at possibly, the working group of generating some sort of section of a bylaw or whatever for this type of cottage style house, development, which has to go to the planning board and everything, but just getting some wording down and everything. Hopefully that helped. But we understand, Julie's right, Beth, that, that is a concern because again, we just don't want anybody to have an easy way. But that inclusionary housing section has been around for 7 years. No one's touched it. No one, meaning no developer has ever used any of that in lieu of creating the affordable housing. And all we're doing is we're getting all these new houses that are now up to 800,000. So if someone's going to charge 800,000 for a house, it would be nice to, again, the grid says 3.5% of that goes to the housing trust so that they're able to purchase other properties and move
I
forward.
don't understand why it hasn't worked, just because they haven't developed enough houses at one time, or why has the inclusionary bylaw not been triggered?
I think it's because it was so complicated that they just didn't go. They've jumped on the open space and what is it called?
Residential development.
Yeah, OSRD. They've gone ahead and done that. So now it's more of, if I call it cluster housing, so that there's 50% of the open space available. Again, that has done well. But when it's come to inclusionary housing, that hasn't. And with Danny coming in, he's taken success stories from other towns and saying this has worked. So it's not only helped bring down some of the costs, but also to help fund the trust funds. So, but again, the planning board has been very good of publishing everything. So if you go out there and if you need help, I think Julie or myself could go ahead and, help you go through all that.
And it came down to some of the calculations, Beth, in the original one. The calculations weren't working out in a way that anyone was using them. So we learned a lot from how it was done originally.
But I didn't think it was an option. I thought once they developed a certain number of units, they had to use it, right?
I think there was always an in lieu of option, was my understanding. They just never hit the criteria where they actually had to build any affordable units. So it was a neither situation was getting triggered. There were no affordable housing created because of the inclusionary bylaw and no funds into the trust. And so the new formula is designed to hopefully trigger it more quickly, and with the hope that there are some incentives for builders to build the affordable units. But if not, at least there's more of a chance that funds will go into other ways to create affordable housing.
And we have had affordable
I had
housing.
thought that if it was under 5 units, and again, I might be confusing it with my former community I worked in, but I thought if it was under 5 units, then they had to pay the in lieu fee. If it was over 5 units, then they had to construct. But, and so there must have been some loophole. They were avoiding both of those.
Yeah, and I think, Julie, correct me, but Panther Place, there are a couple affordable units there, right?
I think so, but I'm not good on the fly, Janet.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I think, Shaker Road, I believe that there were a couple.
Yeah.
So with that, but yeah. Again, Beth,
Janet, that comes under the OSRD, right? Like that's again where that got triggered is from a different
part of the bylaw.
I think, but again,
Yeah,
I'm not going on the record at 8 o'clock at night here.
no, understood.
I'm
Yeah,
speaking kindly with my thoughts as to how I remember it.
yeah. But so there are 4 warrants. 2 of them happen to be about the MBTA communities with the overlay and such. And then the other 2 are with regards to a definition to define the Affordable Housing Trust, as well as the update to the inclusionary housing bylaw. So that's, you'll be seeing that when the warrant gets printed. But again, right now, it's out on the website, on the planning boards.
Did road shows happen for these that I missed?
I'm sorry, did road,
Road shows, like what Dan did tonight to come to all the committees and stuff, yeah.
mhm.
Yep.
Did they come here?
We had 2 or 3 at the planning board, at least 2.
No, I mean here or like public meetings, not the planning board meetings, but
I know that we mentioned it, I believe we mentioned it at the last meeting.
The town planner didn't come to this
No,
meeting, but it came to the Affordable Housing Committee and Affordable Housing Trust.
Mhm.
And I think, again, I can't remember the presentation, but I think he mentioned a few other committees that he had presented to.
And it is available online. I can pull it up if anybody wants it.
yeah,
like I
it might
said,
be good.
I joined the hearing and then they were going over town council comments and I couldn't see the town council comments and then I got like disconnected. It was just having bad bad connection stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, Julie, if you can go ahead and send the link,
Chat, hold on.
all right, that would be good. All right, I'm gonna keep moving on.
Yep.
And,
Sorry for all the questions, but thank you for
oh, no, I mean, again, this is gonna be something on town, town meeting, so. All right. I know I asked Julie to do something, but now I'm gonna ask her.
You want me to let me jump to that and then I'll see what I can find here.
Okay,
Just basically set it all for me though. So we have site plan review for 0 Scully Road, which is the fire monitoring, like fire alarm monitoring business with a house caretaker's quarters, which has been a very interesting dialogue and site visit. And I think he will be a nice new resident to the town of Ayer. And site plan review also for 0 Bishop Road, which is what Jess acknowledged is National Grid. So we were doing those 2 things, and as again, I feel like I've seen Stratton Hill like in 800 iterations over my time here. I was wrong in August. It is not over. They are just continuing to continue into maybe November. We'll see them again. But I guess I'll be forever dreaming of my new neighborhood village.
so last week they didn't actually present.
No.
No,
No.
okay.
Mm-mm.
which was sad because
I thought I
Marion,
missed it too, but no, I was there and awake, and no, they weren't there.
yeah, because Marion showed up.
Everyone showed up.
Yeah,
That's okay. Anyway, that's it for me tonight.
all right. Open space, rec, anything, Beth?
Nothing open space and rec with Wild and Scenic Stewardship Council. We have 2 grants actually now that have remaining funds, one for signage. So I'm gonna meet with Heather and at conservation, because that one was awarded to conservation, to talk about possible use of that funds. We have to decide soon though, because we've been like waiting too long
Yeah.
to resolve this. And then the other one was for water chestnut pulling, and they just didn't need as much money as they thought because the last year's pulls were so effective. And so now we thought we had requested to make an amendment to the proposal and use some funds to address some other invasives and plant natives at Peroni Park in a wetlands area. And the Stewardship Council didn't accept that modification because they thought it deviated too much from the original. So now we're thinking about other ways, like Lori Nearing's thinking about other ways to possibly use the grant award related to water chestnut. And so we'll figure that out. And then I did want to mention that there is just a nice sort of planning the future of what we can do to support the environment in Ayer with change in leadership at PACE and looking for new members. It's a like kind of workshop style event, reflecting on the history and the successes of PACE, and what are the needs in the community now moving forward. And so Lori Nearing will speak, and Marion Stoddard will speak and be there, and that is on October 22nd at 7 p.m.
Excellent. That's at the library?
It's at St. Andrew's Parish Hall.
I know someplace, okay. Thank you.
I know it's late, but I can't put it in the chat. Can I show briefly how the website is? Danny has it awesomely set up so people can find it real quick. Can I screen share, Janet, or no?
I don't have the, can you send
It
it in the
looks like
email?
you can, because it's yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Did it do it?
Well, it started screen sharing. Yep.
Are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
So I'm just going to show you briefly because it was a little clunky, but he's done an incredible job getting everything. I'm actually piloting our planning board going paperless or light paper. And it's partly because Danny's done a fabulous job getting here online. But I will say the only clunky thing about trying to find what Beth is looking for, which is the inclusionary bylaw. If you look on the left, this is under boards and committees and planning board, which is pretty easy to find on our town website. If you scroll down to planning board meeting materials, that's where you're going to find the bulk of everything. So when you go there at the bottom, you can see the multiple meetings where we've had, my mouse won't work, the revised inclusionary housing bylaw. It's right there if you want to look at the details of it. And as Janet has said that we know Barry was filming for APAC at that meeting. And so by all means, you can also watch on YouTube and see the presentations both times, because sometimes they were a little long because it was quite
Are the links to the presentations there?
Are the links to the so there is the actual
Right.
bylaw. You're going to have to go to YouTube, APAC YouTube to watch the planning board meeting.
If you want to make a suggestion to Danny to just add his slides to these meetings as well, that would be awesome.
It might, and you know what, there's a lot in the September 10th one that say inclusionary housing. Beth, is probably there. So it's proposed inclusionary bylaw, the resident letter. So if it's anything, it would be within there, but I will mention it to him as well. There's also, yeah, okay. Anyway, that's going to be enough for tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks to Danny. He's doing awesome.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I think that's it for committees because David is now working on his stuff on Parks and Rec. And I think that's about it.
Our next meeting, will
Um,
we have stuff to have for a next meeting or? Looks like that would be November 6th.
Day after election day, right?
And yeah, and I tell you what, which will be bumped out because that's when the select board will be meeting,
Right.
because they normally would meet on the 5th. So they'll be moving it to the 6th. So if we don't have anything, our next meeting would be December.
Okay, so if we had something, we could meet maybe the 13th, but if we don't, December 4th.
Correct.
Okay.
Does that sound okay for everybody?
Makes sense to me.
I
All
did
right.
just have one quick question on the Sandy Pond property planning committee. I saw in the minutes that there was a discussion about whether a CPC member was going to be on it.
Correct. I'm going to be on it.
Okay.
And then also to yesterday's select board meeting, they made the recommendation that there should be a conservation commissioner on there as well as the conservation agent. So I know that I have told Robert that Jess was interested, but it's up to
Not just me. I mean,
Well, no-
I'd be interested if nobody else is on our commission, but somebody should be on it.
but somebody from the commissioner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you both then for potentially stepping in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I told, Robert said something to me and I said, just be careful, you know, we gave you half that money, so we want, we want half of the input.
Have there been any residents interested in those two open
Yes,
seats?
they've had 6 individuals
Good.
ask to be part of it. I don't know who they are, but Carly told me that I believe there's 5 or 6
They,
individuals.
they,
Yeah,
they
that was
picked,
why also we didn't want to touch those 2 seats. It should
Understood.
be- Yeah,
they picked 2 members last night at the select board.
They did.
Yes,
Okay.
for the
You-
70, for the Sandy Pond property.
Excellent.
Ed Orr was one of them, and it was another gentleman. I got his name, but
Okay, when it comes
Did-
out on the YouTube video, we'll watch it.
did they amend it to include a conservation commissioner?
not at this meeting.
Okay,
They were just doing the appointments of the resident members. So
okay.
Sorry, forgive me, but Beth, that presentation is there. It's under the September 10th meeting. It's the last item in those meeting items. It's the
Thank you. I'll check September 10th then. Thank you.
whole PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. All right, so next meeting, like I said, either November 13th or December 4th, depending upon if we've got anything else that we need to speak about before December 4th.
Yeah.
All right, if there's nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
All right, Barry makes a
Second.
motion and Beth seconds. All in favor? We can just go
Aye.
aye, right?
Hi.
Aye.
All right, again, thank you very much, everybody.